Hey guys, it's Keith. I'm back with another little vloggy style video. Obviously no viewer question this week, or it would say that above. This is just me fresh off an experience, and I just feel like ranting and complaining a bit, so if you don't want to hear me be whiny, you go ahead and just close the video. It's fine. Just go ahead. Oh, by the way, background video, Sonic Boom. We're playing Sonic Boom on The Sad Games, my other channel. There's three, Andrew's playing, and me and Joe are watching and commenting while he plays. Having a lot of fun with that. That's one of my favorite series we've done in a long time. But anyway, tonight is the premiere of the second half of the new season of Walking Dead and the series premiere of Better Call Saul. And for those of you that have been paying a lot of attention, I still live at home, so I'm with my dad and my stepmother, and thankfully I've gotten them to be interested in similar shows, but this is a little rant about how people experience content differently, and it's a pet peeve of mine, and it's a struggle for me. That's, I mean, not a real struggle, but like this is just something that's a bummer to me type of thing. As I explained in the nerd video, I think I'm kind of like a media nerd. I watch lots of television, lots of movies, play lots of games, and I talk about like themes and character development, and I'm invested in what's going on and continuity, and I'm not like snobby about it. It's just I'm not or someone might watch this video and think I'm snobby about it, I guess, but I'm not like, how do I put it? Like, I don't like take some sort of crazy pride in the fact that I am like paying more attention or whatever, but there's definitely a frustration I experience oftenly, which is that I don't really have people in my life I can talk to about media that will think about it and appreciate it on the same level that I do, or think about it in the same terms, and it gets really frustrating. And one of the worst cases is my immediate family that I sometimes watch this stuff with, and it's bad. So I have my stepmother's super talkative, but for no good reason, about nonsense most of the time, and my dad is just like completely like zero empathy for any characters on screen, and usually zero understanding of what's going on at any given moment. Like, we just watched the episode of Walking Dead. I'm not gonna, by the way, I'm not gonna like jump out and spoil anything explicitly about either of these episodes. It's just I'm gonna be vague about this stuff. But like, it's amazing watching someone like Walking Dead's a show about loss and figuring out what to strive for, figuring out like how to set goals for yourself, how do you justify your continued existence while everything's failing around you. That's been the major thing going on for like most of this season, really, because they're kind of just out there and everything kind of keeps falling apart and nothing goes right. And at some point it's like, what are we, you start the characters especially start questioning things like, why are we still like fighting? Like, what are we hoping to achieve here? Like, is it worth it to keep trying, or do we just stop? And by which I mean, like, you just give in and die at some point, which is what so many people do in these zombie stories. And it's fun watching these characters grapple with how they want to process their world. And so you can watch a character lose everything in their life, and they're broken, and then my dad will just say, "Grow a pair," out loud during the showing, like just so condescending to the person that's just having an emotional moment that they should be having, because like they set up real reasons for these people to be in the kind of state that they're in. It's not just like people being randomly whiny. They're not like shitty, irritating anime characters that just are always whiny all the time and that's all they do. Like, it's not that kind of thing. It's like there's like a role, there's like a story arc here, like things build to these, and there's reasons why stuff happens. But the immediate someone adding shows any weakness, it's always like, that pussy. It's like, dude, like, what are you saying, that you wouldn't act the same way in that situation? Like, is that not even for a moment, like not a moment of weakness, if you're in these horrible situations and they involve people you love and people you care about, and maybe you could lose everyone that you've ever cared about? Like, how do you process those kinds of things? And similarly, like, there's just like anything supernatural or anything's weird or anything like someone sees a vision or there's flashbacks or things are shown and out of order for specific reasons. Nope, no patience for any of that stuff. It's always like, I don't like it when they get confusing about things. It's like the stuff that you would say. It's fascinating because it's like the stuff you would say to make fun of people, like as a mockery of people for being stupid watching stuff at some point, and like the things that you would say to pretend to be someone who doesn't pay, like to what am I trying to say? Like, if you were trying to like do an imitation of someone who watches and loves the Transformers movies, like you'd basically get half the stuff my dad says, where they're just like, I don't like it when it makes me think and stuff like that. Meanwhile, my stepmother's just like, oh, what would you do in this situation, honey? What would you do? What would you do? I don't think I would do that. No, I couldn't let that happen. I wouldn't want to get anyone infected and stuff like that. Or like, I would just, or like it's things like, if I got bit, I would just kill myself, and just like repeating herself over and over. I'm like, holy shit, this is a 40-minute episode. You've said the same thing 6 times. I don't understand why we can't just watch this thing. And it's fascinating to watch them because they don't understand what's happening in the episode. Like here's a photo of twin brothers. I was like, oh, this person has sisters. Like, what? No, how did you fuck that up? Or like they just like basic continuity of like, here's something that clearly happened on screen. There's a lot of moments of just like, here's a very clearly displayed sequence of what happened on screen, and one or both of them will immediately have no idea what's going on in the scene or be completely lost about what we're supposed to be getting out of this. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like, they're not even being like weird or artsy about this. They literally just showed something happen, and you're immediately like, what happened? I don't understand what happens on screen. It's so difficult to, it's such a, like, I had to remove myself from the situation because Better Call Saul came on, and it started with a cold open. And that's because it's Terry Gilliam. It's the guy that made Breaking Bad. It's a spin-off specifically of Breaking Bad. So Breaking Bad, it's all about the cold open. Almost every episode of Breaking Bad, there's some sort of dramatic intro, and you're not quite sure what's happening, but it builds up for something. Then you show the credit sequence where it shows Breaking Bad, created by Terry Gilliam and stuff like that, with a little theme song. Maybe a commercial break, I don't remember. And then you cut to the show starting, and then it's all a whole bunch of continuous scenes that make up the contents of the story of the episode. Like, that's the formula for Breaking Bad, and also kind of the formula for Walking Dead for a few seasons now, or maybe the whole show now at this point, I guess. Which, every single time, every single cold open, the people I watch this stuff with are totally baffled by what's going on. They're frustrated, they're annoyed, and they're complaining about it. And I'm like, I don't these are like part of what makes these shows great. I don't understand how, like, first of all, I don't know how you're confused, and also I don't know how you don't understand, like, that things build up to things, and they show us stuff because they're going to explain it. It's not like Lost. It's not like Lost where they just randomly have bullshit happen every 30 seconds and none of it's ever explained, and then the show ends and you're like, what the fuck? Like, none of that made any sense. It was just random sequences of events for no reason, and then it cut off without any explanation of any of it, because fuck you, basically, was the ending of Lost. But no, that's not how cold opens work in Walking Dead or AMC. It's just a really cool way of starting an episode, and it's also not irrelevant. It's usually really relevant to the episode and its story, and if you're invested, you can actually process it, and you can appreciate what's going on when you understand. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry for the cough. Breaking Bad opens with I'm sorry, I guess I'm just going to spoil the beginning of the first scene of Breaking Bad if you still haven't watched it after like 7 years. It's on Netflix, man. It opens up with Walter White. He's in his underwear. He's in the middle of a desert. There's cops coming towards him down the freeway, and he just pulls out a gun. And then it just cuts to credits, and it's like, all right, Breaking Bad. And then it then it just cuts to him as a school teacher teaching chemistry, and it moves on, and it starts the linear story of that episode. And it's like, what the fuck was that? Like, I want to see what's going on. It gets you invested. And so immediately, Better Call Saul comes on, and I'm not going to spoil anything specific here, don't worry, but it plays with your expectations on that. It's like, okay, that was a bright and colorful intro in the middle of a vibrant desert shot, and it was this massive threat of danger and intensity, and all you want to do is want to see what's going on. Better Call Saul opens with black and white, as in like the opposite of a vibrant, saturated color intro, and he's in a place you wouldn't expect him to be in. And I'm not going to say where, but it's it's not the pulse pounding like cops are coming and there's guns and oh my god. It's more like, oh, this is kind of a boring place for him to be in, and it's interesting that he's in a boring place for that short scene, because you know you know what Saul's future is, you know what's gonna or past in this case, because you don't even know in this scene, because I only watched the first scene and then moved on because they were already talking and saying stupid things that I couldn't deal with already, because they're like, was this a backstory or something? Like just saying things. I'm like, just watch, just let the scene happen, and it'll make sense. Like or it won't make sense because you can't follow basic events happening on scene. I don't know, but just watch the scene, please. Just watch the show, and it'll happen for you. You don't even have to press buttons. It's not even a video game. We just sit there in the chair and drink and watch, and that's it. That's all you have to do. But like, he's in a place that seems kind of boring, and it's interesting because you know how crazy Saul's life has or will be, because I genuinely don't know if it's the past or future, because I didn't keep watching, because I went off to record this and some Let's Plays rather than keep sitting in the room. But it's frustrating because this is part of a larger overarching thing of just like, I can't watch anything. Like, well, I mean, I can watch stuff on my own all the time, but I don't have like a group of friends or anyone that I can watch stuff with that is going to think about stuff the same way that I do, and then I can have like a conversation with afterwards that we're gonna be on even footing with, or like, it's not because I'm better or anything like that. It's not that kind of thing. I'm not on some high pedestal. It's what I'm trying to build towards here, sort of, is that people watch stuff for different reasons, basically, and I'm kind of like that too. Like I admittedly, like, because I focus so much on other formats of media, if you go onto my like iPod, for example, I probably have some relatively shallow music on there, whereas like a super music geek or someone who's like part of a band and super down into this rabbit hole or something might scoff at my music collection, where others would be okay with it or whatever. Like, it's because we expose things differently, and I honestly spend more time listening to podcasts than listening to music, so I'm not like a super music geek, even though I do have some enjoyment out of like some of the obscure bands I listen to, and I like that. I'm not the super geek in that territory. Meanwhile, like I in my group of friends of gamers specifically, like I'm the most knowledgeable about video games out of everyone, basically, with Andrew being fairly close in there too, of course, but a lot of the people around, like, despite being people who play games all the time, and that's the main capacity in which I usually see them, is usually them playing games and obsessing over Destiny and stuff like that. No idea what so many games are when I mention them, and even ones that you would expect people to know about. And I'm shocked when I went to my game night once, and we were playing Twilight Imperium, an 8-hour-long tabletop game, and they're all gamers in the room, and I mentioned, like, the Walking Dead adventure game or The Wolf Among Us, and no one knows what I'm talking about, and that just happened. So like, I get it. People are on different levels there, and it's fine. Everyone experiences things differently. You can, if you want to just watch television shows and binge watch entire seasons and not necessarily pay that close attention and do it while you're doing housework and stuff like that, or the way that half the people probably can watch my content anyway, that's fine. People have different reasons, but it's just frustrating to me that I can't find people in my life that will appreciate things in the same, like, they won't not. I don't want to say the word appreciate because it sounds super condescending, as if like people just don't understand. But I just mean like a frustration for me is that I don't have people around me that watch stuff for the same reason as I do, and it's frustrating, and it's I get super jealous of the people over at Red Letter Media, because they're based in I think Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Really great critiques of so many movies, and they're great. They're just a great group of friends that can actually sit down and have a panel and discuss a movie for like an hour, and that's great. I love that they were able to find people that are like-minded like that, and it's probably because they make films, so they probably found people who make stuff, and since they all make stuff, they're like-minded enough just by default to then be able to talk about stuff on the same wavelength, and that's nice. It's there's something really reaffirming about being able to have like a really in-depth discussion with someone you know about something you both care about, and it's affirming, and it's interesting, and you also can learn stuff about the thing you care about because you both know slightly different things or interpret things in slightly different ways, and that's really compelling, and I miss that because I think I've had it before, but I haven't had it for a long time really, because out of my immediate friends, like Joe from frequent person on Sad Games lately, just doesn't have that similar of interest to me in general, or it doesn't get exposed to the same content. And Andrew, when we talk about movies, for example, there's basically two kinds of movies for Andrew. There's movies where Bruce Willis is being a badass, and then there's movies that suck. And those two types of movies are all of movies. So 99% of movies suck, basically. That's more accurate than you would probably think it is. But it's tough. I find myself watching stuff, even though it's something that my entire family will watch and enjoy, and that we all want to see and we all look forward to, like Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and The Strain and American Horror Story and Better Call Saul and Walking Dead and all these shows. I have a bunch of my dumb sci-fi shows that I only watch alone because no one else cares about them. But all the stuff that everyone cares about, I find myself watching them all alone anyway, just because it's hard to deal with having other people watch it and then be vocal about watching it for different reasons, basically. And it's rough. Like I watched what is it? I every now and then I try to share with people around me and try to have the experience that I kind of wish I would have, and unfortunately it always falls apart. And one of the biggest bummers recently was I was really interested in the show Black Mirror. It's a show on BBC, I believe. It gets like I want to say it's like Sherlock or something, where it gets like 3-episode seasons, and each season is like a movie length video, basically, and that's really cool in its own way. And I tried watching that with with 3 people over at Andrew's place, and I thought that'd be a great experience, because it's kind of like the Twilight Zone, except instead of being super far out supernatural events, it's more like technological dystopian future type scares of like, here's a sci-fi concept, all right, we're just gonna run with it, we're gonna take it as far as we can to its extreme and just make a really surreal episode about this crazy concept. And I'm like, I'm super into this. This is totally my jam. I watch it with 3 other people. None of them are into it. They're all super negative the entire time. They're making fun of it, and it's just like it's just an all-around bad experience. And it's just kind of a bummer to me, because yeah, I have friends, and I like spending time with my friends, and I like spending time with my family, but there's something kind of unfortunate about having your favorite hobby being this sort of media consumption, but not being able to share the vast majority of the stuff you consume with anyone around you, because you don't get the proper experience out of it, and like you don't really have fun with it because people either don't think about it the way you do, so you can't talk about it on the same level, or straight up like they don't like anything you like, and that's always that's a bummer. I don't know. I don't really have a point. I'm sorry about the cough there, of course. Sorry if I'm boring the shit out of you guys. This is not this is a rant that's fresh off of me having a response in my head to just a situation. So I've never done this before. They're usually like relatively prepared videos where I'm like, I've been thinking about this for a few days. I'm like, all right, let's do a video about that rant topic. But this is fresh out the presses. I just had this thought that made me frustrated, and I just immediately started recording a video. So maybe some of you can appreciate the sentiment of what's going on here. Maybe I just wasted your time and you're bored out of your mind and you can't believe you sat through this. But thanks for watching regardless. Thanks for humoring me. I feel like I kind of earned the right to make dumb videos every now and then, because I make so many minutes per day of Let's Play anyway for you guys. So anyway, just to recap, just to remind you, the video you've been watching is a Sonic Boom, the latest Sonic game. Really terrible Sonic game. And by the way, that's kind of the basis of sad games, because me and Andrew, and probably Joe too, we don't like stuff on the same wavelengths ever, but we can have the experience of all agreeing to play something that we all expect or all just flat out think is just a bad game. And that totally is like the basis of sad games, and it totally works. Like, let's just play shitty things and make fun of them. That's something we can all agree on. That's kind of what we have so much fun with on that channel. But if you want to watch that, go over to the sad games. I'll put links to the source videos and stuff in the comments or something. That game is glitched as fuck. There's so many problems. It's totally baffling that it came out. And speaking of me, like I always watch, the idea of me watching stuff with family and being frustrated by the experience, maybe that'll change soon, because I don't want to jump out too ahead. It'd be super. I was tempted not to say anything about this, because if I say it and then it doesn't pan out, then I have the shame of people knowing that I failed. But I got a call this week about a job interview, and so maybe I'll be employed pretty soon, and things will start kicking off in my life in a way that they haven't been for a while. So that'll be awesome. And hey, if I have a place on my own, that I don't have to worry about the whole shared movie experience unless it's specifically with people that I want to. And then I have to deal with crippling loneliness of living in a box somewhere if I get an apartment. So, you know, trade-offs, I guess. That got on a dark turn. No, it didn't take a dark turn. The whole episode was about sort of complaining anyway, I guess. Thanks for watching, guys, like always. I'll see you next time. Oh, hey, Crayon.
So you actually shouldn't go fast on these.
No. Why would you go fast? You're gonna die horribly. You could go for a casual stroll.
Watch out.
Or don't watch out, because rings don't matter. Oh no, this is hell. What? Wait, what? You fell off and teleported back on. You saw that. We all saw that, right?
Oh my god.
Crooked ass Sonic just like ragdolled off the cliff, but then was back on the ring.
If you fell from, if you fell off of those, you would just kind of ragdoll to the ground.
Yeah.
Wait, what is this?
Wait, Tails is.
Knuckles, what are you doing?